welcome to South Asia Today, a show that provides you the glimpses of South Asia. I'm your host Yeshi. Here are the headlines. Over 22,500 Indians have returned from Ukraine, says Indian Foreign Minister in Parliament. 7th edition of Nepal Buildcon International Expo held in Kathmandu. And training camp at Dal Lake to give boost to water sports in India's Jammu and Kashmir. Let's begin the show. It's been more than 20 days since Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered an invasion on Ukraine that led to widespread devastation in cities under bombardment. Several Indians stranded in war-hit country have been brought back as part of evacuation mission Operation Ganga. During the Parliament session, Indian Foreign Minister S.J. Shankar threw a light on evacuation as well as assessment with both the countries. We have this report.
Russia launched a full-scale military invasion into Ukraine on February 24, causing several civilian casualties and pushing people belonging to other countries to leave the war-hit country. The Indian government has been conducting a smooth and effective operation in the last few days to rescue stranded Indians from the conflict zone. While addressing the Parliament session, Indian Foreign Minister S.J. Shankar informed the Parliament that 22,500 Indian citizens have been evacuated safely from Ukraine, including students who were evacuated from Sumy, where they had faced the prospects of being caught in crossfire.
Despite the challenges posed by the serious ongoing conflict, we have ensured that about 22,500 citizens have returned home safely.
Foreign Minister S.J. Shankar asserted that global supply chain disruption was expected due to the Ukraine conflict. He also said even while India was participating in global deliberations of the evolving situation at the UNSC, the pressing challenge was to ensure Indian citizens were not in harm's way. The Ukraine-Russia conflict has added to the trade chaos that followed the global economy's emergence from pandemic lockdowns.
The Ukraine conflict has major economic implications. Its impact on energy and commodity prices is already visible. The disruption of global supply chain is expected to be significant. India has substantial dealings with both Russia and Ukraine. An assessment in this regard by the government is underway.
So far, New Delhi has also provided relief supplies to Ukraine and its neighboring countries. It will continue to send more flights, and relief material comprising medicines, tents, blankets, sleeping mats, tarpaulin, surgical gloves and eye goggles have been provided for those who have been affected by the war. However, the Indian government says the mission is not over until the last stranded citizen returns home. India's position on the Ukraine conflict in the wake of military action by Russia has been steadfast and consistent.
Moving on, Kashmiris and human rights activists staged a protest in Geneva on the sidelines of the 49th session of the United Nations Human Rights Council. They shouted slogans and demanded dismantling of terror camps in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. They also urged Islamabad to stop exploiting natural resources in the occupied region.
We want freedom. We want freedom.
A group of Kashmiri activists held an anti-Pakistan protest outside the UNHRC building in Geneva and demanded Islamabad to stop denial of civil rights in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and dismantling of terror camps in the illegally occupied region. The protest was organized during the 49th session of the UN Human Rights Council by the United Kashmir People's National Party (UKPNP). UKPNP spokesperson Nasir Aziz Khan called upon Pakistan to quit the occupation and dismantle all terror camps in the occupied region.
We organized protest here in the front of United Nations to draw attention of the United Nations and international community towards the serious human rights violation in Pakistani occupied Kashmir, commonly known as Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. We are the oppressed people. We don't have the say at international forums. and Pakistan made pledges with international community that she will withdraw from Pakistani occupied Kashmir, which was illegally occupied by Pakistan. But she did not comply with the UN resolution on Kashmir, and we are forcibly divided since 1947. We are here to raise our voice, to draw attention of the United Nations and international community towards the abductions, killings, extrajudicial killings, and exploitations of the natural resources in our area.
The protesters urged the international community to intervene and take note of Pakistan's sponsorship of terrorism. They also raised concern over illegal land grabbing and exploitation of natural resources in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan.
Human rights situation in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir leaves a lot to be desired, and that is not just my opinion, but it is the opinion of representatives of many professional organisations such as Human Rights Watch, and indeed those representatives of the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, who have prepared two excellent reports dating 2018 and 2019 respectively, which highlight all the serious human rights abuses which take place in Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. So this is not just my opinion about the fact that there are significant human rights abuses being committed on a regular basis in Pakistan-administered Kashmir.
Junaid Qureshi, a Kashmiri activist and director of European Foundation for South Asian Studies, said the atrocities and human rights violations being committed in the region of South Asia, particularly in Pakistan, especially against the administrative areas of Kashmir, which are under the occupation of Pakistan.
We are here to protest against those human rights violations and call the attention of world bodies like the United Nations to the rights of the Kashmiri people to live with dignity, peace and honor, and especially to free ourselves from the imposed terrorism exported on us by Rawalpindi, because we believe that terrorism is basically the biggest violation of all human rights, and we disassociate ourselves from all these imposed groups by Pakistan like the jihadis.
March 16 is observed as the foundation day of the erstwhile princely state of Jammu and Kashmir. The Jammu and Kashmir International People's Alliance JKIPA also organized an international seminar and discussed the state of human rights in Pakistan and its occupied areas. The event was attended by Baloch, Sindhi, Pashtun and other international human rights defenders. Now we take a look at some happenings in Asia in a segment called Asia Watch.
Nepal's Education Minister Devendra Paudil and Indian Ambassador Vinay Mohan Quatra jointly performed the groundbreaking ceremony of Nepal's largest library, the Tribhuvan University Central Library, on Tuesday. The building of Nepal's one of the biggest libraries is being built under the Government of India USD 50 million grant assistance in education sector. The library is being constructed at a cost of 316.9 million Nepali rupees and will be built as per earthquake resilient reconstruction norms of Nepal. The new 3-story building of Tribhuvan University Central Library will be equipped with modern facilities and will include several academic sections along with ancillary facilities. Central Building Research Institute, premier institute in India in the field of earthquake resilient reconstruction, will provide technical expertise for construction of this library. A memorandum of understanding was also signed between the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, Government of Nepal and Embassy of India for implementation of the project.
And the vision is to build an all-inclusive architectural infrastructure with modern facilities that defines what a full-fledged library should be. And to meet this vision, the Embassy has taken a particular interest to ensure that this library has the best in structure and also in the ease of its functioning. During the design phase of the library, the CBRI, the Central Building Research Institute, which is the premier institute in India in the earthquake resilient reconstruction, has referred to the modern facilities adopted in the best libraries of India.
The Indian envoy also reiterated that this project was a testament to a multifaceted, strong and robust development partnership between India and Nepal. India has committed $215 million earthquake reconstruction grant assistance to the government of Nepal. An automated system with humanoid robot that can help package noodles was displayed at a recent Tokyo Technology Exhibition as a solution for food manufacturers struggling with labor shortage. The 1.5-meter tall robot Foodly, developed by a Japanese robot developer RT, has an image recognition system to capture the food that is in front of them. The robot with its fork-like hands then picks up the mock noodles and places it on the blue conveyor belt that also works as a scale developed by Yamato Scale. The belt will weigh the noodles to be packaged into the black container. The robot can pick up to 500 grams of noodles or other food including chopped vegetables and fried chicken. The joint development of the automated system by RT and Yamato Scale comes as Japanese struggles to cope with a dwindling workforce in the food manufacturing industry and as factory workers voice concerns over the working environment amid the COVID-19 pandemic, where they commonly find themselves in confined spaces. The firm is considering putting a roughly 30 million yen price tag on the robot system but has no concrete plans for commercialization. Carefully putting together a small windmill to be installed on the rooftop of his home next to his solar panels, Iraqi clean energy innovator Zaid Mohammed says he is now energy self-sufficient and can weather the frequent power cuts in Basra province. In Iraq, a dilapidated national grid often provides only a few hours of power each day, leaving many Iraqis to swelter through temperatures that regularly surpass 50 degrees Celsius. The country is trying to recover from decades of conflict, international sanctions and mismanagement. Iraq, one of the world's largest oil producers, relies on crude oil exports for around 95% of state revenue. It is trying to improve the capture of gas released during oil production to become more energy self-sufficient, but with limited success. The popularity of clean energy in the oil-rich southern province of Basra is increasing according to the owner of the company selling solar panels, Ahmad Al-Bayati. He said he now sells about 250 solar panels a month, 10 times more than in 2017. According to an engineer at Iraq's Ministry of Electricity, Sara Al-Tamimi, the Basra Governorate are planning to open 3 stations with a total capacity of 1000 megawatts to complement private sector solar energy projects. Gas imports from Iran fuel the national grid and periodically halt when energy consumption increases. Thailand held a fruit and vegetable banquet for 57 elephants at a botanical park to celebrate Elephant Day. The feast is commonly observed in various parts of the country, but due to the pandemic and economic woes that have come with it, elaborate celebrations were few this year. At a Nong Nuch tropical garden in Chonburi province, however, elephants were treated to 2 tons of fruits and vegetables artistically laid out on an 8-meter wide table. The domesticated elephants have had few visitors due to the pandemic, and Kampong says they are happy to see people when they do come to visit.
Viewers, let's shift our focus to Himalayan country Nepal, where the country's largest architecture and construction event, the BuildCon International Expo, was recently organized in capital Kathmandu. The expo attracted scores of businesses and investors over the past weekend. Focused on showcasing advanced construction technologies, the event also saw an outpouring participation of Indian companies. Have a look.
Nepal's largest international expo on architecture, buildings, construction, design and engineering, the Nepal BuildCon International Expo, was recently held in capital Kathmandu, which brought together various businesses and investors. This time, the 7th edition of the expo showcased advanced technologies in Nepal's growing construction sector. The event was organized after a gap of 2 years due to COVID-19 pandemic and saw an outpouring participation of Indian companies, which gave detailed demonstrations of latest products and services.
This exhibition is very helpful for explore our business in Nepal. I see lots of opportunities there. और यहाँ पे मैं देख रही हूँ कि बहुत सारे जो थर्मोप्लास्टिक जो डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज हैं, डेवलपिंग कंट्री नेपाल एंड यहाँ पे बहुत सारे जो हैं वो रोड मार्किंग के काम हो रहे हैं, तो हमारा जो पेंट है यहाँ पे वो काफ़ी हम लोग अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ा सकते हैं। ठीक है, हमारा जो मटेरियल जो लॉट्स ऑफ टाइप ऑफ मटेरियल वी अवेलेबल एंड डिलीवर इन नेपाल। ओके, तो ये एग्जीबिशन के थ्रू हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि हमारा जो बिज़नेस है वो काफ़ी बढ़े। कस्टमर भी हमारे पास ऐसे आए हैं जो देख रहे हैं कि हाँ हमारा कंपनी जो है यहाँ पे मटेरियल डिलीवर कर सकता है, और हमारे लॉट्स ऑफ कस्टमर यहाँ पे मिले हैं।
The international exhibition is supported by the Nepal Engineering Association, Federation of Contractors Association of Nepal, Society of Nepalese Architects, Heavy Equipment Parts Association and Confederation of Indian Industry. Alongside the 7th Nepal BuildCon International Expo, the event was also hosted by Nepal Construction Machinery and Heavy Equipment International Expo as a concurrent event which showcased construction equipment and heavy equipment of companies from Nepal and abroad. The theme of the expo was to promote shared responsibilities, recreating industry role and responsibility in national development.
A good time for that. We are doing all of the semi-government and Nepal government work also we are doing, and the scenario is totally now is a change for that, India and Nepal.
The main highlights of the exhibition were construction materials, machinery and architectural hardware amongst others. The expo gave the participants and visitors opportunity to exhibit, exchange and invest with a focus on shared responsibilities in national development. This year, the expo focused on showcasing advanced construction technologies, inspiring innovative products and services for maximum exposure and greatest reach in Nepal's growing construction sector.
India's Jammu and Kashmir is witnessing a phenomenal rise in water sports activities. Blessed with ample natural water resources like the Dal and Nagin Lake, there is enormous scope of professional water sports in the region. To give boost to it, a training camp was recently organized at Srinagar, in which youngsters got trained under the guidance of professional experts.
The quiet waters of Srinagar's Dal Lake recently cheered up for hundreds of youngsters as it hosted a special water sports training camp.
हमारा focus रहेगा specific training.
Held under the supervision of renowned water sports coach Bilkis Mir, the camp saw the active participation of both girls and boys. The high-spirited players were thankful to their coach for helping them master the skills. They say it will boost their confidence level and prepare them for the national championships.
जो ट्रेनिंग चल रही है वो 2-3 घंटे चल रही होती है, क्योंकि हमारा मकसद जो है, हमारा मकसद है नेशनल में पहुंचना, उसमें मेडल्स निकालना, क्योंकि जब हम मेडल्स निकालें तो हमारी स्टेट का नाम जो वो रोशन हो जाता है। और बिल्किस मैम जो वो पूरी मेहनत कर रही है हमें ट्रेन करने के लिए, हमें जो कमियां है वो दूर करने के लिए, ताकि जो स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन उसमें वो कॉन्फिडेंट आ जाता है, फिर प्रैक्टिस की वजह से होप होता है कि नहीं मैं मेडल निकालूंगा क्योंकि मैंने पूरी प्रैक्टिस की है। जो हम प्रैक्टिस कर रही है इज जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ इक्विपमेंट्स, जो इक्विपमेंट्स यहाँ पे हैं हमारी मैम की वजह से, बिल्किस मैम की वजह से है, और उसकी वजह से हमें बहुत हेल्प मिलती है।
यहाँ पर कैंप बहुत अच्छा चल रहा है। यहाँ पर जो बिल्किस मैम है वो बहुत ही सीरियस सी प्रैक्टिस करवाती है हमें, क्योंकि जो हमारा प्रैक्टिस चल रही है बहुत सी टाइम दे रही है हमारे ऊपर।
Besides practicing on the lake waters, participants were also seen learning the kayaking and canoeing techniques using the recently installed ergometers at the Nehru Park Water Sports Centre. Many even took to running and practicing several exercises to boost their stamina and enhance their performance. Lately, the sports centre has not only been equipped with high-tech equipments but has also been fully upgraded to match international standards. The coach Bilkis Mir said, with such advancement, the day is not far off when water sports players from Kashmir will excel at both national and international level.
2-3 सालों से एक रेवोल्यूशन आया वाटर स्पोर्ट्स में, चाहे वो इक्विपमेंट हो, चाहे वो इंटरनेशनल लेवल फैसिलिटीज़ हो, चाहे वो साइंटिफिक इनपुट्स हो। लाइक आपने देखा होगा ये सेंटर पूरा प्रोफेशनल सेंटर बनने जा रहा है, जिसमें साइंटिफिक इनपुट्स भी आएंगे, लाइक फिजियो, then dietitian, then we have a conditioning expert, and then we have a world class equipment here. और दूसरी बात ये है कि we people are blessed with the natural water resources, बहुत फ्लैट वाटर एंड वाइल्ड वाटर। बच्चों में बहुत जोश है। आप देख लीजिए कि गेम बहुत पॉपुलर हो रही है। आपने देखा होगा कि यंगस्टर्स, हमारे स्टेट में सिर्फ फुटबॉल और क्रिकेट को देखा जाता था, बट आज देख लीजिए कि वाटर स्पोर्ट्स में कितने बच्चे आ रहे हैं और कितना वो इंटरेस्ट ले रहे हैं। मुझे लगता है कि इंशाल्लाह वो दिन दूर नहीं होगा कि हम ना कि नेशनल बल्कि इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे एक्सेल करें।
In the last few years, Kashmir Valley has seen a tremendous growth in water sports activities. Many youngsters have shown keen interest in it and have made the whole country proud. The J&K administration is also taking all possible steps to explore the potential of the region for water sports by strengthening the infrastructure and holding training camps.
It's time for me to wrap up today's episode. We will be back next week at the same time. This is Yeshi signing off on behalf of the entire production team of South Asia Today. Goodbye and take care.